Hi, this is Pete the Tech Guy, and this is the latest of my quick commentaries, which replaced my podcast. If you like what you see on this quick commentary, then feel free to like it on YouTube, or if you really like it, feel free to go to DaTechGuyblog.com, DaTechGuy blog.com, and hit the tip jar. I like that a lot. And I want to talk about a trap that businesses are falling into. And it's a legal trap. And I don't think businesses know that they're doing it. And it involves the vaccine mandates. Now, a lot of businesses have been mandating their employees to get the vaccine. There's just been a story today, I'm recording this on Sunday, that an ESPN reporter was fired rather than getting the vaccine. You hear about police officers going. And as a general rule, the number of people who are refusing are small. You're talking about anywhere from 5 to 25% in some places. Sometimes the numbers are very, very small. And some of you might be thinking that I'm talking about the danger of lawsuits from the people who lost their jobs for not taking the vaccine. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the potential lawsuits 5 and 10 years from now from the people who followed the mandates and took the vaccine. And let me explain why. Now, I want to preface this by saying this. Now, the odds of getting COVID are very small. And the odds of getting very sick from it are very small. Now, with the vaccine, from the data we have, the various vaccines, the odds of complications are still very small. I mean, they're there. In a population of 300 million people in the U.S., let's say half of them have the shot right now. You're going to get tens of thousands of reactions, maybe even 50,000 or more. I mean, that's a small overall. It's high for vaccines, but it's still a small amount overall. But because the vaccines were approved on an emergency basis, you had some corners cut. And I don't mind that at first because we didn't know how bad COVID was going to be and so forth. When you don't know, you do the best you can with what you got, and then you develop things over time. And the Biden administration's been very clever in that they haven't actually made a vaccine mandate. They've been saying that they're going to do a vaccine mandate, and they've been talking about the vaccine mandate. Talk, oh, we're getting ready to issue this, we're getting ready to issue that. But they're basically getting employers to jump ahead. Now, politically, I think this is because they want to be able to say, oh, we didn't issue a mandate when it comes to election time. But I think what they really want is the employers to take the risk. And the risk they're taking is this. We do not know the long-term effects of these vaccines yet. We don't know, because they were developed quickly, and again, we're talking about an emergency. We didn't know if COVID was going to be like the Spanish flu or worse. We didn't know. So I don't have a problem with emergency development of the vaccines. But we don't know the effects 5 years out. We don't know the effects 10 years out. But we're going to find out because an awful lot of people took these shots. And if it turns out that there's some long-term effects, cardiovascular effects or any other kind of effects that hurt health. Now, the vaccine manufacturers aren't going to be sued because under the emergency rules, they were given the permission. And again, I understand why it was done. I don't have a problem with that per se. But it's not going to be the government that's sued because the government we didn't issue a mandate, and they may not be vulnerable to being sued. But let's say you're a business of 200 people, and you mandated the vaccine. And let's say you lost 20 people, but 180 people got it. And let's say 20 or 25 people got it after you mandated it. Get the shot or you lose your job. What happens if in 10 years it turns out that there are complications? The person who forced the mandate is you, the business owner. You're the one who said to a person, you cannot have a job unless you have the vaccine. So a lawyer, if I'm a lawyer, I'm licking my chops at this 5 or 10 years down the road. Because it's not going to be those 5 people who fired who are going to get the big settlements, although there might be lawsuits about that now. But the 25 people, the 50 people, the 75 people who got the shots, the ones who get complications, think of the cigarette lawsuits. Think of the ads you see now for people who work in asbestos plants. There was a place, a Simon Son Steel Company, that was in Fitchburg, and there's literally billboards in the air. If you worked at Simon Son Steel, contact us, law firm, because they want to do suits, and if you work between certain years and so forth. Think of how many such suits are going to be out there. And remember, they only one or two has to win before it becomes millions. And think about all the millions of people who will think, this is easy money. This is a trap. By mandating the vaccine, you're putting the small businesses are putting themselves at risk for lawsuits, not now, but 10 years, 15 years from now, or maybe even as little as 5 years from now. And you'll know that they're worried about this when you see something go through Congress to immunize businesses from such suits. I guarantee you're going to see something like that pushed, and you're going to have lobbyist groups pushing hard. Because if you're a big company, if you're a Microsoft, or if you're an Apple, if you're an Amazon, and you're a company that's got deep pockets, or a university with a big endowment, I mean, there are going to be lawyers licking their chops. So if I'm a business, I would be really wary, I should say, about doing a vaccine mandate. Because I'm telling you right now, we don't know. Now, if we're lucky, and I hope we are lucky, this won't be the case. It'll turn out that the number of complications are consistent over time, will be consistent with other vaccines. And over time, like I suspect that in 6 years or so, the COVID vaccines will be as effective and as safe as most other vaccines, or it's more like a flu shot actually, because you can still get it. So it's not so much a vaccine as it's like a flu shot. But I suspect that over time, they'll become safer, they'll become better. And that's simply because that's how long it takes to really test and know on a vaccine. It's not because these guys aren't doing their job. It's because this is how much time it takes to do something, the thing right. It's one thing, like it's like the difference between if you're a field doctor on a battlefield and you do like field surgery, something fast, meatball surgery, patch them up, send them to someone else who does the things the proper way. Just have to do something fast. You're going to have, I don't think people get this risk, this legal risk. And don't think for a moment that there won't be lawyers waiting to do this. Don't think for a moment that there aren't law firms already planning on this. There's going to be money in it. And as soon as people smell money, they're going to be jumping. Now, again, if we're lucky, this won't be the case. And I hope we are lucky. Because it's not a question of politics. I would prefer that there be few or no complications and that this not happen. But I think it's a real danger. And any business that doesn't have this in the back of their mind is making a mistake. Don't say you haven't been warned. Well, that's it for today's commentary. This is Pete the Tech Guy. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Have a good one.